Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we have a very good day. Scharnhorst 43 is back. You can finally get this ship again. This being one of the most fun ships in the entire game, in my opinion. They gave it out for free during Christmas last year. It was halfway through the Battle Pass. And now it's back, this time for coal. You can get this thing for 85,000 coal. And to me, this is the most no-brainer purchase you can have in the game. If you've got 85,000 coal, which honestly doesn't take that long to earn just through daily crates, getting yourselves the more resources crates, you're going to get it relatively quickly. And this ship is fun. They basically took Scharnhorst, made it a little bit worse in the main guns department, but ramped up the fun elements of this thing. The secondaries are better, the torpedoes are much better, and they give you an incredibly powerful engine boost. It is so much fun, even though I don't think objectively it's just better than Scharnhorst, the regular one, because your main guns have a much longer or a bit longer reload. The secondaries also have slightly worse hitting DPM, but they ramped up the reload, reduced the alpha damage of them, and gave you a ton more fire chance. So if you've got someone like Luchins, you're going to activate the secondary talent much faster because you're hitting more shells, even if they do a little bit less damage each. And a 45-second reload on these torpedoes means it's incredibly fun to just full send this ship in with that speed boost, dance around, and torp everything at closer ranges. It's so much fun in Tier 7 ranked, and even in random battles, we're going to have a pretty decent time here. This is one of the most fun ships in the game, in my opinion. If you're interested in this secondary torpedo, brawling, full send playstyle, and you're looking for a premium ship that's a reasonable in-game resource cost, I think this is an excellent option. It's also available for doubloons, 9,800 doubloons, but I really would not recommend that at all, especially because we're getting to November here. That means Black Friday is coming. And, I mean, Massachusetts, it's going to be a little bit cheaper than that and available during the Black Friday sale here in a little bit. That's just a way better purchase. Not only because the ship is incredibly powerful at Tier 8, it's really fun, but it's rare. You can only get it during the Black Friday sales, so it's a much better buy for doubloons. But coal, resources, 85,000, that's it. A lot of the coal ships, especially as you get to higher tier, are 230,000, 290,000 for some. It's kind of a lot. So 85,000 here, great deal in my opinion. So if you've been waiting for this ship to come back, maybe you missed it during the Christmas update last year, you weren't playing, I mean, it's back. You can finally get it again. And again, it's not a massive change over Scharnhorst, but anytime I'm looking to play a Scharnhorst, or guys now, any Tier 7 brawling battleship, it really comes down to West Virginia 44 or Scharnhorst 43. These two are my absolute favorite battleships at Tier 7. They're incredibly fun for that pushing brawling playstyle. The West Virginia 44 has better secondaries as well as having better main guns, but Scharnhorst has better armor as well as an engine boost. The torpedoes as well are incredibly fun to use. Onto this game here, we're getting pushed back into a corner here pretty hard. I know that the Aki is very low HP, so one overpen ought to do it. So we're going to get that blind fire in. Very fortunate for us, otherwise that would have been a very difficult target to deal with on the flank here. But we're getting pushed back. Scharnhorst, though, loves it when people push into it. Here we're going to deal with islands. It's very important if you play this in random battles that you isolate fights. It's much better in ranked where there's much fewer ships in the game, allowing you to take more favorable engagements where you're not just pushing and going to fight for ships on your own. If you're wondering, that's really the reason why I didn't push around the corner there. I was debating it. You saw, I was debating pushing this guys now, but I decided against it. I think that was probably the correct play, even though I really wanted to. Random battles, you do have to pick and choose the best times to push in. This map can be great for brawling if you get into these islands here. I'm a little too far away at the moment. We're gonna have to worry about this Dunkirk on our broadside as well as this Bayard. Very dangerous Tier A light cruiser. Lots of HE DPM fires there. And I just gotta say real quick, this guy's now, I'm not sure if he's running a secondary build or not, but regardless, doing an excellent job of staying just outside of my secondary range. That's the mark of someone who knows what they're doing and knows what the Scharnhorst is good at least the 43 here. Tons of fire chance. We'd burn him down rather quickly with this ship, but he's staying just outside. Very, very smart to be playing at that range. Dunkirk pushing in, and now we get to see the absolute power of these secondaries. Anytime you got this engine boost up as well, by the way, you're just incredibly maneuverable. So that's how we're able to slow down and dodge that Dunkirk salvo, forcing the shells to go over our bow rather than hitting midship. And just look at the secondary. Sure, the individual shells are going to do a bit less damage. The overall hitting DPM is basically the same as regular Scharnhorst. But getting to that Lucian's buff is a big secondary DPM buff. And then the fire chance as well is a big deal too. Typically, you're not going to get terribly many fires with the regular Scharnhorst, but here, buffing up those secondaries to do a lot more fire damage is really, really nice. As people get into closer ranges, those 6-kilometer torpedoes, they're the exact same torps you get on regular Scharnhorst organized now. They just have a way faster reload, and you're going to see that used here in a little bit. We do take quite a bit hit now that we're pushed up against the border. Don't like using the border, but didn't manage my positioning correctly here, so we do scrub along it a little bit. We do take a decent hit in return, but look at the damage in on this Dunkirk, man. Absolutely insane. And now that I have an opportunity, we can push towards this island. I really want to make sure I'm not getting farmed by a Bayard while I try and fight enemy Gneisenau as well as this Devonshire. It's difficult to deal with multiple targets at once, I gotta say. So pushing forward here, our engine boost is almost up off cooldown. It does feel quite sluggish without this engine boost, by the way. You do want to manage it correctly. In this game, I used it to get out to the flank here very quickly, but then it's not available for when I'm fighting, so it's probably a better idea to save it for when you're fighting. But notice how long it lasts. It lasts an incredibly long time when you use the engine boost mod, and it is a 15% engine boost, up from the standard 8% engine boost we see as a more normal consumable. So it's pretty good. We're going to use Torps here, which would usually be a bad idea because regular Scharnhorst would not be reloaded in time. But here, 30 seconds from now, we got another rack of Torps. And this is it right here. If you want to do this, this ship is so much fun. It really is. Secondaries finishing off the Devonshire there. Gneisenau is going to push in on us, and I guess he thought I wouldn't have Torps? I don't know. He's going to push in for us, though. May as well use our other torpedo set. Maybe Bayard is pushing quickly enough, but I don't think so. And Gneisenau getting confident here that he can come kill me with his torpedoes, but our Torps are loaded again. It's so silly, man. This ship is so ridiculous. It's so fun as a tier 7. It's not as powerful as the West Virginia 44 in my opinion, but it's a little bit more fun just because of the speed and these crazy torpedoes. So we end with 4 kills, 134,000 damage, and that's a random battle. In ranked, in brawls, any sort of smaller game modes, you're gonna have an even better time. It is awesome. I'm hyping it up a lot, but it's really legitimately one of my favorite tier 7 ships in the game. It is so much fun, and I'm very, very happy to see Wargaming bringing it back. I was wondering, where are we going to see this ship again? Because it was a great option for free. It was an excellent gift as a Christmas gift to the community, but I was a little disappointed that it didn't come back right away. So I'm glad to see it here again. And I guess one weakness that we should talk about is you don't get a hydro at tier 7 on these German battleships. So you gotta be a little careful. I underestimated the reload time on, I don't even know what DD that would have been, but regardless, I underestimated the reload time. So we eat an incredible amount of damage. We can hardly heal anything back, but did you see that? We actually citadeled an Iparanga. I was not expecting that. Here we're on very, very low health, and we're still pushing because this ship actually has good armor. It's surprising. I think it's partially down to these tier 7 German battleships don't have quite as big a superstructure, and they're much quicker and more maneuverable. Certainly more so with the 43 here being with our engine boost. allowing us to dodge incoming fire a little bit easier, take less hits to that large superstructure. As you go up in the tiers of German battleships, it's really my main complaint. The turtleback is awesome, the deck armor is very strong, but it's got such a large superstructure that you end up taking massive damage there anyway, regardless of the angle, at least at closer ranges, which is typically where you want to go. It also helps we're gonna commandeer this friendly smoke. Is probably smoking for me, which I do appreciate. That's very, very kind. Allowing me to survive just a little bit longer, do the smoke secondary gimmick here, and grab speed broadside. I wanted to try the guns out here. They are the same guns, they're just longer reload is the idea here. So still the 2.0 Sigma, but battleship dispersion, meaning it can troll you at times. And the Torps. Fortunately, our engine boost is up right now, so we can accelerate rather quickly. It's a very maneuverable ship, and that's where it's fun. It feels light and agile, as well as having just an incredible amount of secondaries firing, and at closer ranges, just torping constantly. That's what I like about it so much. And Scharnhorst guns really weren't all that reliable to begin with anyway, so to have a little bit longer reload isn't such a bad trade-off in my opinion. The engine boost is just so much fun to use. We've probably pushed our luck a little bit too much at this point, so I think the enemy Ipiranga or maybe enemy Nagato will finish us off here, but I'm glad to see it back, man. I'm glad to see it back. Very exciting update coming up here. The massive sales of Black Friday, of course, but also some new ships coming. I didn't mention them, but there's a couple others that are coming back to the armory as well, which is always really nice to see. I like having more options available for in-game resources, just so people can get some of these ships that might have been in events that they weren't playing the game for or they missed out on. Regardless, it's nice to have more options available for coal, especially as we get into these mid-tier ones. 85,000 coal is not bad for something like a Scharnhorst. It's a very, very good ship, the 43 here. Tons of fun, but we're also having the stored 43 here coming for also 85,000 coal and 8,800 doubloons. But again, just using game resources, Black Friday is where you want to spend doubloons or real money right now. It's a way better deal getting discounts on these ships. Anhalt is 135,000 coal. That's a little bit harder to recommend. I'm not a big fan of this ship, guys. I do not like it at all. It does have this crazy camo, but I don't believe you can get it. Although, not sure if you would want it necessarily. I forgot, man. Look at... anyways, you don't get these sales or whatever they are in-game, by the way. Also, the Johann is coming back too, which is cool. This is a fun secondary brawler as well, although more focused on Torps, as you get some pretty nasty torpedoes. It's very tanky as well, but this one's only doubloons. No in-game resources on this one. So, again, Black Friday, much better use of your doubloons, in my opinion. But Scharnhorst 43, man, so excited. So excited. I'm glad it's back. This thing is so much fun. As for the build here, I was in random, so I was wanting to use IFHE. That gets our secondaries up over 32 millimeters of pen, which is important anytime you're fighting against tier 8 battleships. If you're against your own tier, like let's say ranked modes, where it's a tier 7 ranked game, do not run IFHE. It just cuts your fire chance for no reason. Since tier 7 battleships, you're going to be able to pen anyways. So you may as well keep that extra fire chance. Maybe run Vigilance could be useful. I mean, not eating a face full of Torps in the beginning of a game tends to lead to better results. But yeah, it's just a fun secondary brawler, guys. It's a good time. It's a really good time. This engine boost is so much fun. And yeah, secondary build, and then just sending it in to also use these torpedoes with that 45-second reload. It's a great time. So glad to see it back. Well done, Wargaming. Finally get to play this thing again and recommend people get it. 85,000 coal. Pretty cheap for how much fun is packed into the ship at mid-tier, which is a good tier to play. Tier 10 can be a little slow and campy at times. Tier 7, there's a lot of fun to be had, in my opinion. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.